Hey everyone, and welcome. Calling all grade 8 learners. I am super excited to be your master teacher today as we dive into a really vital topic in our physical education and health curriculum. Today's explainer is all about the foundations of inclusive sexuality and gender identity. We're going to build a deep, solid understanding of healthy, positive sexuality and look at how the core values we live by shape exactly who we are and how we treat the people around us. So grab your notebooks, get comfortable, and let's jump right into this empowering journey.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll be defining sex and gender. Second, unpacking SOGI and LGBTQIA+. Third, looking at society and gender roles. Fourth, the values shaping healthy sexuality. And finally, creating inclusive communities. Let's get right to it.
All right, to kick things off, I want to hit you with a big question to test your instincts. What is the true difference between sex and gender? People mix these two terms up constantly, right? We kind of throw them around as if they mean the exact same thing, but in reality, they represent two totally different aspects of who we are. Take a second. What do you genuinely assume each word means?
Section 1. Defining sex and gender. Let's get these basics down, because this is the absolute foundation for the rest of our masterclass.
Okay, so here's the deal. These two concepts, completely distinct. Sex refers strictly to the physical, biological, and physiological characteristics of a person. It's determined by nature, it's rooted in our genetics, and it's universal, meaning a biological trait is the same across different cultures worldwide. Gender, on the flip side, is all about the socially constructed roles, behaviors, and expectations dictated by society. So, while sex is what we're born with physically, gender is basically what society teaches us about how we're supposed to act.
Let's zoom in on the biological characteristics of sex for a minute. These are the specific, measurable traits hardwired by nature. For a biological male, this includes having an Adam's apple, specific reproductive anatomy, X chromosomes, and the production of testosterone. For a biological female, we're talking about developed breasts, specific reproductive anatomy, XX chromosomes, and the production of estrogen and progesterone. These traits form the universal physical foundation of human biology. But, and this is a big but, our biology is literally just the physical starting point.
Now, I want you to mentally picture a Venn diagram. If you were sorting everyday household or societal roles, like, say, cooking, cleaning, providing financially, or being a strong leader, where would you put them? Honestly, you'd probably find that almost all of these roles belong right smack in the middle, where the circles overlap. It perfectly highlights how traditional ideas of gender roles are changing. The lines are totally blurring, as we realize that human capabilities are definitely not limited by gender.
Section 2. Unpacking SOGI and LGBTQIA+, a spectrum of identity. Now that we've established gender isn't just a strict set of boxes, let's explore the incredibly diverse spectrum of human identity by decoding two really important acronyms. First up is SOGI, S-O-G-I-E. This stands for sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. Let's break that down. Sexual orientation is simply about who you're emotionally or romantically attracted to. Gender identity is your internal, deeply personal journey. It's how you feel inside, your own sense of self, which, by the way, only you can define. And finally, gender expression is how you show yourself to the world, through your clothes, your haircut, or your mannerisms. Understanding SOGI is huge because it helps us respect that every single person has a totally unique journey.
Next, let's look at the LGBTQIA+ acronym, which represents an incredibly diverse community. L and G are for lesbian and gay, individuals attracted to the same gender. B stands for bisexual, someone attracted to more than one gender. T is transgender, which means a person's gender identity differs from the sex they were assigned at birth. Q is for queer or questioning. This is an umbrella term, or it can mean someone is currently exploring their identity. I is intersex, representing folks born with physical sex characteristics that don't fit typical binary definitions. And A stands for asexual, experiencing little to no sexual attraction, or ally, someone who actively supports and advocates for the community.
And hey, you literally cannot forget that ultra-important symbol at the end, the plus sign. It represents the infinite, beautiful spectrum of identity. It's there to ensure total inclusivity for any identities not explicitly spelled out in the initial letters, like pansexual, non-binary, or gender-fluid individuals. It's a powerful validation that absolutely everyone's identity is equal and deserves respect. Nobody gets left behind.
Section 3. Society and gender roles.
Unpacking assumptions. Let's shift gears and analyze how the world around us shapes our behavior and the kinds of assumptions we tend to make about each other every single day.
Think about things like playing with dolls, washing dishes, fixing a broken faucet, or even getting a tattoo. Ask yourself, are those actions based on our biological chromosomes, or are they just taught by society? So often, traits like feminine grace or masculine strength get pushed heavily onto specific genders. But guess what? Those qualities aren't locked to just one sex. Anyone, and I mean anyone, can be a nurturing caregiver, and anyone can be fiercely independent.
The reason this happens is because of something called norms. Basically, norms are the established, unwritten rules and societal expectations of a culture. Think of norms like a literal script given to us by the world. Society hands us this script based purely on whether we were born male or female, and then tells us exactly how we're expected to act in public or at home. But the cool thing about a script, it can always be rewritten.
To help us figure out how this script actually works, experts have pinned down 4 specific characteristics of gender. Number 1, it's learned, right from the moment we're born, through the toys we get, the media we watch, and our parents. Number 2, it's collaborative, meaning we socially build it together through our daily interactions. Number 3, gender is something we do. It's an ongoing behavior, from our clothes to our speech, almost like a daily performance. And number 4, it involves asymmetry.
Now, let's hit pause and really look at that last word, asymmetry. This means that gender inequality still actively exists in our world today. One gender is often handed more power or valued more highly, which leads to some really unfair judgments, biases, and limitations, all based purely on gender. Recognizing this asymmetry? That is exactly why we study health education. It shines a massive spotlight on where the unfairness lies, so that we, as learners and citizens, can actually work together to fix it.
Section 4, Values Shaping Healthy Sexuality. Now that we've identified the problem of asymmetry and societal bias, let's pivot to the solution. How do we use our core values to shape healthy, respectful relationships?
The first major value we need to talk about is equality. According to global organizations like UNICEF, gender equality means making sure everyone has equal access to resources, opportunities, and protection, totally irrespective of their gender. Now, notice this really important nuance here. Equality doesn't mean treating everyone in a completely identical robotic way. Instead, it means fairness and equity in opportunities. A boy who wants to be a nurse and a girl who wants to be an engineer should both get the exact same level of encouragement to succeed.
And right alongside equality is inclusivity. Inclusivity is all about promoting diversity and ensuring that every single person feels valued, respected, and empowered. Simply put, it means making sure absolutely no one gets left out or ignored just because they happen to be different. I like to think of it like expanding a circle. You're making the circle bigger so that everyone, no matter their identity, has a seat at the table.
Both equality and inclusivity are supported by our own personal core values: respect, empathy, responsibility, and honesty. When you actively integrate these values in your daily life, you're building a mature, non-discriminatory mindset. It means you're intentionally making choices that reflect the absolute best version of who you are. And that, my friends, is what leads to healthy and positive sexuality. Section 5, Creating Inclusive Communities. Turning values into action. This is the part where we take all this great vocabulary and empathy we've just learned and we turn it into real-world action.
If you are brainstorming goals right now to empower male, female, and LGBTQIA+ communities in your own school, what would you focus on? Real-world actions don't have to be these massive, sweeping campaigns. They can be small, incredibly powerful steps, like making the effort to use a person's preferred name, or having the courage to stand up against bullying in the hallways. Sometimes, it's just simply listening with an open heart when someone shares their personal story with you.
And honestly, right at the center of all those goals is one single word: respect. As we touched on earlier, respect is the absolute foundation. It's the bridge connecting biological facts to genuine human empathy. It is the very first core value we have to grasp if we want to prevent gender-based issues. Because when we choose respect, we actively build a safer, kinder world where no one has to live in fear of being judged for how they were born or how they choose to express themselves.
So, a brilliant way to lock in everything we've learned today is through a pledge of commitment. Imagine mentally signing a form right now that says, "I pledge to promote healthy and positive sexuality by educating myself, treating everyone with respect, and standing up against bias." I challenge every single one of you to make this personal commitment. Take that old, unwritten script of restrictive gender norms we talked about and rewrite it with fairness and kindness. Wow, we have covered so much vital ground today. From the baseline biology of sex to the beautifully diverse spectrum of gender, all the way to the core values that connect us all. So I'm going to leave you with one final provocative thought to carry with you out into the world. How will you use your core values to advocate for respect and build a safe, inclusive world starting today? Thank you so much for joining me in this Grade 8 Health Explainer. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and go make a positive impact.